Thank you. So, today what we found out was that the Georgia Senate Republicans want to actually be Fulton County Commissioners, and that's exactly what took place, because that's what we learned more of than anything else was the process that Fulton County does. Process does not involve the Georgia Senate at all. Quite frankly, it's actually a shame. In that very same room, we have actually took more time to learn about the Fulton County budgetary process than we did on Medicaid expansion. Same room and actually same chair, quite frankly. And it's shameful that it actually took place. We learned nothing about this. This particular committee is on its last legs. Their members didn't even show up today. They had 3 members missing. They're not even interested in this anymore. There's nothing else to talk about, quite frankly. And we found that out today. So if my friends on the Georgia State Republicans, Senate Republicans, want to become Fulton County Commissioners, well, they had a good learning lesson today, because that's the only thing I basically learned was how to become a Fulton County Commissioner. Nothing involved the state of Georgia today. Nothing involved the Georgia State Senate today at all.
Talking about the law change, possible law change, but with Mr. Wade on this case, do you see a need for this committee?
I absolutely didn't. I didn't see a need for it to begin with, quite frankly. It really was not our purview, because I voted against it initially. And certainly now, since that's kind of gone by the wayside, and so you see that their members didn't even show up, that their absence actually shows the interest in this particular committee. And so the committee is really on its last legs. I don't know who the next witness will be, but we basically just forced this. Those questions could have been asked, about 5 or 6 questions could have been asked and been done with it. We basically forced this hearing, and then to come to find out that in reality, the only thing that anybody had to do was just go to the Fulton County website, and all their answers would have been right there. And you even heard the young lady tell the chair, that's all you would have to do. And he kind of went back to subpoena again, because it kind of killed his narrative, because he wants to have a narrative about subpoenaing persons and things of that nature. Just go to the Fulton County website, it's all there.
I know when Senator Estevez and I talked about this when the committee was first being formed, you asked why not do this for things like jail or Medicaid. Now that you have some Republicans on your side for Medicaid, is there a consideration next session for calling a special investigation, a special meeting on investigation for Medicaid?
Oh, well, we hope to actually go ahead and pass that. I think the key thing is I'm not one that necessarily always calling for special investigations and things of that nature. I just want to pass Medicaid expansion. That's the key. We're wasting time here as far as this is concerned, and that's not hyperbole. You were there. There's nothing that you learned as far as the Georgia State Senate is concerned, except maybe now we're about to start having constitutional officers change the way they do their budget. A process that's been in effect for almost 30 years as far as how budgetary items go for constitutional officers. So now all of a sudden, because of one particular issue, we're going to change that for the whole state. So those who are listening throughout the state, I want all constitutional officers to realize that apparently the Georgia State Senate is about to change the law because of one event that happened in Fulton County that really was not an event at all, because everything they wanted to know, they could have went to the website and found out.
Senator, before you stepped up here, we did have Chairman Pitts here, and he did say he would like clarification on what he can and can't do with county and state constitutional officers. Is there room to work in that space, especially you being a former solicitor?
They actually have clarification, because one of the cases that we actually talked about was with State versus Cook, going back to 1984. What that case actually talked about, to get into the weeds, but what that case talked about was if you annually renew someone as far as their job, that becomes an actual employee. And so what that case was a prosecutor was basically annually renewing an ADA every year. And for 20 years, that person had the job. They said that's an employee. That has to go to the county commission. But as far as hiring somebody for a special purpose, and in that particular situation, a special purpose as far as gaming was concerned, and in this particular situation, it's election integrity. As far as hiring somebody for a special purpose, no, you don't necessarily have to go to the county commission, because first of all, you would have to be disclosing exactly what that special purpose is. So there actually is a lot of ways that these county commissions can figure out how to handle this. It already exists within the law, and it's been working, as far as I'm concerned, very smooth. I've been dealing with it. I represent the Sheriff's Office in Richmond County. It is not an issue, quite frankly, as far as how the budgetary process takes place. I understand Chairman Pitt's concern, but as far as us now as a legislature to actually change something that is rock solid in the law, for what reason? Because of the situation that happened with Ms. Lewis, with Fani Willis, it makes no sense. The fact of the matter is, if Chairman Pitts would have came in here without all of that fanfare and said